Now that we have a good grasp on what rhythm is, which is what happens around the beat, and we know what steady beat is, we're going to look at what we call meter. Meter is spelled M-E-T-E-R, or we also call meter time signature. You can call it either one you want to call it, and it's interchangeable, so you may hear me use both of those from time to time. Meter or time signature. So at the beginning of music, you'll see what looks like a little fraction, and it's a series of two numbers. So for instance, in this piece of music right here, in the still of the night, we're going to look for our meter, and it is right there. Okay, it's always at the beginning of the music to show us how the music is going to be divided up. So the top number means something and the bottom number means something. Now the top number means how many beats per measure. Okay, so right here we had 4, 4. So that means that there are going to be 4 beats per measure. Beats per measure. I'll put M for measure, beats per measure. And then the 4, there's a code for the bottom number. And the 4 means what kind of note gets the beat. So the bottom number, what kind of note? What kind of note? All right. Now the 4, you just have to memorize what the code is for the bottom numbers. 4 equals a quarter note. All right. So we will go over right here all the different kinds of meters that you're going to see in music. The most common one, and we call this one literally common time or common meter, is 4, 4. Okay. So 4 beats per measure. And then the 4 means a quarter note gets the beat. A quarter note. All right, it's a sloppy quarter note, but it's a quarter note. So if you were to see 3, 4, it would be how many beats per measure? It would be 3 beats per measure, and the quarter note would get the beat. So quarter note. All right, so anytime you see a 4, you know that it's going to be a quarter note that gets the beat if the 4 is on the bottom. Now, if you see a 2 on the bottom, it's going to mean something different. All right, so a lot of times you'll see what we 2, 4, and that marker doesn't work. I'll get a different one. When you see 2, 4, or I'm sorry, not 2, 4, because we know that the quarter note gets the beat. I wanted to teach you a different note. So this is called cut time. All right, so 2 beats per measure. The top number always means the same thing. And the bottom number 2, that means that the half note would get the beat. The half note would get the beat. Okay? If you see a meter with a 16 on the bottom, it means that the 16th note would get the beat. If you see a meter with an 8th note on the bottom, or an 8 on the bottom, you guessed it, the 8th note would get the beat. 8 on the bottom means the 8th note gets the beat. Okay, so the numbers on the bottom that you would typically see, we've gone over, would be 4, and that equals a quarter note. You'd see an 8, which equals an 8th note. You could see a 16 from time to time, which would be a 16th note. You'll very rarely see a 16 on the bottom because there are other measurements that are just easier to play and read. And you could see a 2 on the bottom, which equals the half note. Half note would get the beat. Okay? And that is pretty much just about all you would see on the bottom. It's about all that you would see on the bottom. The whole note is pretty much never going to be on the bottom, and if the whole note is going to be on the bottom, then a lot of times what you would see is like a small number for a whole note, and then you see like a whole note on the bottom, and sometimes it looks like this, but that's rare, so you don't really have to think about a whole note being on the bottom. If you were to see, that's basically it, really. So these 4 numbers right here for meter, you just need to know that the 4 on the bottom means the quarter note gets the beat. The 8 on the bottom means the 8th note gets the beat. 16, the 16th note gets the beat. And the 2, the half note gets the beat. And anything on the top is how many beats per measure. So 3, 4, 3 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat. Let's look at some other meters and some music just so you can be familiar with what it would look like in printed music, because eventually we will do analysis of different types of sheet music that you see. All right, so this is a piece from the Prince of Egypt. The 4/4 is here, it's common time. So quarter note gets the beat, and there are 4 beats per measure. And they don't really put it again because it's pretty easy to see that it's just going to be 4/4 the whole time. There's no meter change. Sometimes the meter will change in the middle of the song, but not in that one. So the meter, I don't see it, and it's up here. Yep, 4/4, common time. 4 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat. Oh, here's a popular one that is sung at weddings a lot. And this little symbol right here, this means cut time. So C would be for common time, and when it has a line through it, you cut it, so cut time. And cut time is what we said was, you remember what cut time is? 2/2, that's right. Okay. And they didn't repeat it again. This one also is cut time. C for common time, which is 4/4. Slash through it means you cut it, 2/2. And you guessed it, 4/4 on this one. This is from The Greatest Showman. This is from The Greatest Showman, and it's in 4/4 as well. Do I have anything in any other meter or time signature? I guess not. This is a Disney medley, and it's in 4/4 as well. Oh, look, here's one. This one's in 3/4. This one's in just for the first measure, and then it goes to 4/4, and then it goes into 3/4 again. I remember playing this one for a wedding. It changed a lot. It sounded cool because the meter changed in the right places for it to sound really cool. But it alternates. See how it's a 3/4 here and then a 4/4 here? Okay. All right. Well, oh, and then we even have a 2/4 right here. And this was something for a talent show I think I played. Yep. So that is what meter or time signature is. And now it will be up to you to memorize this code. It will be up to you to memorize this code. So let's go over it, okay? Because you're going to have lots of materials that ask you the same information about meter. And we'll show you, we'll have to see if you understand how to measure out notes in meter. So let's go over this. The 2, if you see a 2 on the bottom, what note is that going to be? Half note. Yes. If you see a 4 on the bottom, what note is that going to be? That would be a quarter note. If you have a 16 on the bottom, what type of note is that going to be? It would be a 16th note. And if you have an 8 on the bottom, it would be an 8th note. All right, you're golden. Go forth and do meters.